Welcome to our channel Science and Social Hub. Today we are going to see History Delhi Sultanate. Let's get started. Before that, we need to remember some words. Sultanate, a kingdom of Mughal emperor known as a Sultan. Chaliza, a group of 40 nobles who are powerful and helped Iltutmish to destroy his enemies. Mongols, warrior tribes who lived in the borders of the China. They were based at Mongolia. Ulemas, the persons who are expert in Islamic theology. Ikuda system, the system of giving land grants instead of cash payment for service rendered. Kagraj, land tax. Mukadam, village headman. The origin of the Sultanate. The Turkish invader were newcomers to India. They expanded the Muslim frontiers substantially. Muhammad Ghori died in AD 1206. His empire was divided among his generals. Kutubuddin Aibak, the general of his Indian provinces, suppressed other governors. He declared himself as the Sultan of Delhi. In AD 1206, he laid the foundation of the Delhi Sultanate. His dynasty was also known as the Slave Dynasty because Kutubuddin himself was a slave of Muhammad Ghori. Iltutmish and Balban served Kutubuddin Aibak as slaves. The five dynasties which ruled Delhi. The Slave Dynasty AD 1206 to AD 1290. Khiljis 1290 to 1132. Tughlaq dynasties AD 1320 to AD 1414. Sayyid dynasty AD 1414 to AD 1451 and the Lodi dynasty AD 1451 to 1526. The Slave dynasty or the Mamluk dynasty. The Kutubuddin Aibak has begun his career as a humble slave of Muhammad Ghori. He rose to the power after his master's death in AD 1206. He consolidated his power through matrimonial alliances. Being a slave, he had a difficult time in overcoming the resistance of his nobles and suppressing internal revolts and external invasions. He constructed the first Islamic monument, the Quwat ul Islam Mosque, one each at Delhi and Ajmer. He also started the construction of the Qutub Minar in the memory of Sufi saint Qutbuddin Bakhtiyar Kaki. It was completed by Iltutmish. He died in the AD 1210 during the fall from the horse while playing Chaugan, also known as polo, at Lahore. Kutubuddin Aibak. Kutubuddin Aibak was a general of Ghurid king Muiz al-Din Muhammad Ghori. He was in charge of the Ghurid territories in northern India. After the Muiz al-Din's death, he became the ruler of independent kingdom that evolved into the Delhi Sultanate ruled by the Mamluk dynasty. Iltutmish. Iltutmish was a slave of Kutubuddin Aibak and later became his son-in-law. Sensing the resistance of the nobles, he created a group of 40 powerful nobles known as the Chaliza or the 40 to help him in suppressing his enemies. Kobacha was a ruler of Multan and occupied the parts of Punjab. Tajuddin Yalzod was the ruler of Ghazni and wanted to annex Indian territories. Iltutmish defeated both of them. There were the revolts in the Gangetic Valley from the Rajput rulers and the other governors. Iltutmish defeated them all and firmly established the Turkish rule. Razia Sultana. Razia Sultana came to the throne after their father's fall. Iltutmish died in 1236. Being a woman, she had to face a great opposition and rebellion from the nobles. She was very brave. She rode horses and led many armies. She was, however, defeated by Altunia, the governor of Shirnid, the leader of the nobles. She later married Altunia to recover the throne. The nobles, however, plotted against her and she was put to the death in AD 1240. Ghigyas ud bin Balban. After about 6 years of internal strife, Nasir ud-Din Mahmud, the youngest son of Iltutmish, ascended the throne. He was pleasure-loving, weak and inexperienced. He left the administration to his advisor Ghigyas ud bin Balban. All the powers of the Sultan were now in his hands. For 20 years, he acted like a prime minister. After Nasir Uddin's death, In AD 1265, Balban occupied the throne. He took many steps to consolidate his position. He also crushed many revolts and ruled with iron hand. With this stern and bold policy, he created fear and respect in minds of people. He established peace and order in the country. He also, he also reorganized the army and posted a strong force in the northwest. The Mongols were created great trouble there. Balban destroyed the group of 40, which had become the very powerful. The nobles stood silently in the court. They had to kneel and touch the ground with their forehead, and it's also known as Sijja. The decline of the Mamluk dynasty. The Ottoman ruler Selim I put an end to the Mamluk Sultanate and established a small Ottoman garrison in Egypt. He did not, however, destroy the Mamluks as a class. They kept their lands, and Mamluk governors remained in control of the provinces and were allowed to create private armies. The Khilji dynasty. Balban's successors were very weak. A grandson of Balban was murdered in AD 1290 and the Sultanate passed in the hands of Khiljis. Jalaluddin Khilji was the first ruler of this dynasty. He sent his nephew Alauddin on a mission to conquer Devagiri in Deccan. He was victorious there. When he returned to Delhi with fabulous riches, Jalaluddin came forward to greet him, but he was stabbed by Alauddin Khilji. Alauddin Khilji. Alauddin Khilji was a brilliant general and an able minister. He dreamed of becoming a second Alexander. His conquest included the annexion of the Gujarat and the Malwa in AD 1297, Ratnambore in AD 1301, and the fort of Chittur in Mewar in AD 1303. It was during his attack on the fort of Chittur that the Rajput women, Perfat Jauhar, they preferred to perish in the flames rather than to submit to the enemy. Alauddin Khilji needed money to maintain a large army. He raised the taxes on the wealthier people. He also kept watch on the revenues collected by the nobles. The control of the market. Alauddin Khilji had an ambition of conquering the whole India. A huge army was needed to fulfill such ambition. The soldier had to be fed well. Therefore, he fixed the prices of the food grain, clothes, and other essential commodities. The merchants had to sell all the commodities at the fixed rates. If they failed to carry out these orders, they were punished. Although this was done to benefit the soldiers, ordinary people, and also benefited for it. The conquest of the south by Alauddin Khilji. Alauddin Khilji was the first Sultan of Delhi who conquered the southern India. He entrusted his military commander Malik Kafur with the task of conquest of Deccan. Between AD 1309 and AD 1313, the Yadavas of Devagiri and the Kakatiyas of the Warangal, the Hoysalas of Dwarasamudra, and the Pandyas of the Madurai were subdued. The rulers of Dwarasamudra and Warangal gave all their wealth and elephant to Malik Kafur. The rulers of southern India were allowed to rule on promise of paying the tribute regularly. During Alauddin's regime, the Mongols raided the Sultanate of Delhi the number of times, but he was successful in keeping the Mongols under check. Alauddin Khilji's empire was large as the Emperor Ashoka. Ghazi Malik, a general of God Khusro Khan, the last ruler of Khilji, murdered, and then he occupied the throne of Delhi. The decline. However, before the death of Alauddin, his house was divided into two camps, resulted the ultimate collapse of Khalji dynasty. He died on January 1316 due to acute health condition. He was ultimately murdered by Khusro Khan, and this ended the Khilji dynasty. The Tughlaq dynasty. The Tughlaq dynasty, also referred to as Tughlaq or Tughlaq dynasty, was a Muslim dynasty which ruled over the Delhi Sultanate in the medieval India. Its reign started in 1320 in Delhi when Ghazi Malik assumed the throne under the title of Ghiyath al-Din Tughlaq. The dynasty ended in 1413. Ghiyas-ud-Din Tughlaq. Ghazi Malik put the end of the Khilji dynasty. He took the title of Ghias ud Din Tughlaq Shah and ascended the throne in AD 1320. He conducted campaigns against Warangal, Odisha, and Bengal to expand his kingdom. He died in AD 1325 when a pavilion built for public reception in his honor collapsed. Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Muhammad bin Tughlaq was a great scholar and the only sultan who have received good education. He has often been described as a mixture of opposites. He was kind as well as cruel. He was wise, yet at times he behaved unwisely that resulted in great misery to the people. Firoz Shah Sultan. Muhammad bin Tughlaq died in AD 1351. According to Badauni, the Sultan was freed of his people and they of him. He was succeeded by his cousin Firoz Shah Tughlaq. Firoz Shah Tughlaq faced a difficult situation. The empire was shrinking, the army and the nobles and all the ulemas all wished to have a greater say in the administration of the empire. He, though distinguished military leader, lacked courage and conviction. He failed in his two expeditions against Bengal, which he lost forever. He also made no efforts to reconquer Deccan. The decline of the Tughlaq. The dynasty extended its territorial reach through a military campaign led by Muhammad bin Tughlaq and reached its zenith between 1330 and 1335. Its rule was marked with torture, cruelty, and revolution, resulting in the rapid disintegration of the dynasty territorial each reach after 1335 AD. The invasion of Timur-Lang. Timur-Lang, better known as Tamerlane, had risen to the power in Central Asia. In AD 1398, Tamerlane attacked Delhi and did not face much resistance. Like other Mongol invaders, he started looting and terrorizing people. When they resisted, he ordered their massacre. The terror lasted for about a fortnight. He then left Delhi on his way and looted Meerut, Haridwar, Nagarkot and Jammu. Beside the wealth, he took large number of artisans, craftsmen, the builders and the Samarkand. Sayyid dynasty. Timur entrusted the governance of the Multan, Lahore, Diplapur to his deputy Kirs Khan. Timur died in AD 1405. Tughlaq kingdom somehow managed to continue till AD 1413. Kiris Khan occupied the Delhi in 1414. He laid the foundation of the Sayyid dynasty. He was the most able ruler of this dynasty. He died in AD 1421. His successors were all weak. The Lodi dynasty. During the rule of Sayyids, one of their Afghan officers, Bahulo Lodi, rose to the great prominence and became the governor of the Punjab. In AD 1451, he seized Delhi and raided himself to the throne. He recovered Sindh and Mewar. He treated the nobles as his equals. He tried to win their confidence by giving the gift and land grants as jagirs. With the help of the nobles, he ruled for about 38 years. Sikandar Lodi. Sikandar Lodi succeeded Bahlol Lodi. He suppressed rebellious chief. He was the greatest of the Lodi kings. He moved the capital from Delhi to Agra so that he could control the kingdom better. He is known as of his hatred toward the Hindus. Ibrahim Lodi. Ibrahim Lodi failed to keep the nobles in good humor. Lodi kings were Afghans. Much of their strength depended on loyalty of the Afghan nobles. These nobles became jealous of his power and success. A powerful Afghan noble, Daulat Khan Lodi, invited Babur to invade India. In AD 1526, Babur, a descendant of Timur, established the Mughal Empire in India. The decline of the Lodi. The Ibrahim ascends the throne. The political structure in the Lodi dynasty had dissolved due to abundant trade rules and the depleted treasury. Ibrahim Lodi was thus killed in the battle with Babur. With the death of Ibrahim Lodi, the Lodi dynasty came to an end. The administration of the Sultanate. The central administration, Sultan and the high officials. The Sultan was the head of the both civil and military administration. He carried on the administration with the help of a number of ministers. The most important of these were Wazir or the chief minister. The other key officials were Diwan and the Qazi. The army. The standing army was directly under the control of Sultan. Besides the standing army, Ikatadas were also required to supply the forces through provincial governors. The army ministers are known as Diwan-i-Aris. Justice. In case of involving Muslim, justice was based on Shariat or the Islamic law. It was usually administered by Qazi, also known as judge. Ibn Battuta's observation. Ibn Battuta, a traveler from Morocco, reached India in AD 1333. He spent many years at the court of Muhammad bin Tughlaq. He has left an interesting account of India. It is clear from Ibn Battuta's account that Muhammad bin Tughlaq had contradictory qualities. Sometimes he was very humble, but at other times he would inflict severe punishment for ordinary people. According to Ibn Battuta, the country was in the state of disorder and traveling from one place to another was unsafe. He says some chieftains live in the thick bamboo forest. The bamboos protect the rulers as if they are living in a fort. Inside the strong bamboo walls are their castle and their crops. The rains last 3 or 4 months in a year in these regions. Therefore, there is also sufficient water for them within. These rulers could not be conquered easily, for this strong army was needed, which would cut down the bamboo forest using some very sharp tools. Conclusion. Hello all, hope you all like the video. The like aim is just 60. Subscribe for more. Editing and PPT by Akshay. Thank you.